reset it.
All right, good. All right, today we're going to talk about the biblical mandate, the biblical case, the biblical base for family vacation. Now, we'll read that story later, Rod, that you have there. And that Grace Legacy Builders thing is for later on. That's for you to take home. So that's not for you to have in your hand. I don't have a handout. Sorry about that. So anyway, the biblical base for family vacation. What is it? Now I remember getting to Primgar, Iowa, have a new baby, and I start preaching there, and I have vacation. I have 4 weeks of vacation. And I'm like, well, I can't leave next week. It's really important. I can't leave the next month. It's really important. I can't. And so here I am, 4 weeks of vacation, and I'm hard pressed to find when to go. Well, we go on vacation. We come home. The church was still standing. I didn't think it was. We pastors have that complex. More than anything, I thought of this. My dad was self-employed. And when he got home from vacation, he didn't have a paycheck waiting for him. I did. I thought, wow, that's really something. My dad took us on vacations. We weren't poor by any means. We weren't wealthy by any means. But my dad made sure we went on vacation. So I started to think about that. And is that selfish American, or is that biblical? Is it good? What is it? And so anyway, I thought about that, and then I noticed winning families. Winning families seem to vacation well and have fun. One of my friends who's a pastor at a large church, a wonderful Reformed evangelical guy, he always says to me, Kite, you and I have done enough funerals to know this. A boat brings people together. And people usually have pictures of family vacations when they die and reminiscing with their family and having fun. So the opposite that I noticed is a pastor, and I later found out there was a correlation, is parents who are so tight they can't spend money on anything. Everything is dark, dour, and sour. We're just getting through this life for a few years. If Jesus doesn't return, we'll get to heaven. You know, that's not biblical either. We just had that in our men's Bible study this morning. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger. And I noticed that people who didn't have fun, who didn't live a little, laugh a lot, had bitter children, no matter what the economic reality was. So anyway, then I reading through the Bible and I find this, Deuteronomy 14:26. Coach O, could you read Deuteronomy 14:26? It's called the vacation tithe. And sure enough, we were here with the OPC pastors and I talked about it. And a few people looked at me like I was strange, but Larry Wilson, great biblical scholar, goes, oh yeah, the vacation tithe in Deuteronomy 14:26. And it's very interesting. Of all the things that I teach, and I teach about gender, this may be the second most controversial thing I preach and teach on, is Deuteronomy 14:26. And Coach, read that out loud. Deuteronomy 14:26.
And you may spend the money for whatever your heart desires, for oxen or sheep or wine or strong drink or whatever your heart desires. And there you shall eat in the presence of your Lord your God and rejoice, you and your household.
So it's telling us three basic things. Take 10%, go with your family, and rejoice and do whatever you want. Now it says, I'm not promoting drunkenness, strong drink, and wine, but I am in the explaining business, not in the editing business. And I was in one country and they got livid. with that. And I just said, you know what? I need everyone to stop now. You've all had your say. I get to go around all over the world for one great reason. I explain the Bible, I don't edit it. So the things you like or you don't like, really, God's not up there going, boy, I hope Bruce Kuiper likes this one. You know, it's an intricate part of the Jewish family, the rhyme and rhythm of time. And it's, if you go back to Jesus at Caesarea Philippi, various scholars believe that he was there on vacation with his disciples. It was a place where people went on vacation. And Jesus' strategy is basically, he's letting them get their guard down. While he's walking through Caesarea Philippi, there's many gods and deities there that the Romans had brought in and the Greeks from various cultures. And all of a sudden he says, oh yeah, who do people say that I am? Well, they have all kinds of things, and he kind of takes them by surprise. And then he asks the most important question anyone could ask anybody. But who do you say that I am? He did that more than likely on vacation. Being out on the fishing boat, talking to your grandkids. I have a great article there called Between Pitches about a guy who was a pastor, and he just came home and played catch with his son and taught him many wonderful life lessons. I want to read this here where it says this in this article by Daniel Shantz of Moberly, Missouri. This was in Guidepost. He says, you can have the World Series, the crowds, the instant replays, the $6 million contracts, the Hall of Fame. I had something better than all of these. I had a father who played catch with me. And he talks about all the life lessons that his dad imparted to him. So I'm not talking about just the vacation tithe. I'm talking about things like sports, maybe having a swimming pool. One of my most dearly beloved families of any church I've ever been at is Jake and Betty Lou Decline. And Betty Lou says this, and I know every generation of their family as well. You know what, Pastor? Our pool pump broke. And my husband said, well, should we take the pool down? The kids are out of the house almost, and do we really need it? She goes, no, let's just fix it. We have the pool in the backyard. She says, I have had the most wonderful conversations with my grandchildren just floating in the pool. Michelle and I, this will go against Dave Ramsey. I'm teaching Dave Ramsey right now. And he would say, make sure you're gazelle intensity, you're debt free. But the vacation tithe says take 10% of your money while you're going through life, not more, not less, and spend it on whatever you want. So Michelle and I as well had a pool when the kids were younger. And we had a great time with that pool. It was for a season. It was for 3 years. It was the centerpiece of the neighborhood. The kids wanted to come over and have fun. And then the next 3 years, it was kind of a fun place. But we don't regret a moment of that. The vacation tithe, I'm just encouraging all of you to put some money aside for family fun. For example, our kids would watch CSI on Thursday nights, and they would come over, and I'd quick shoot down, the kids and all their friends, I'd shoot down to Caesar's Pizza. What's that called? Little Caesar's Pizza. And Mr. Kuiper would come back with a bunch of $5 pizzas. Well, I wanted my home to be the centerpiece of the neighborhood and where my friends and their friends could gather. And we also had a basketball hoop. We did stuff like that. The point of the matter is, you gotta plan for that and put money aside to celebrate. Not more than 10%, not less than 10% is what it's saying. So, then I wanna say this too. We just had our lesson on Steve Lawson talking about Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, provoke not your children. And one of the great things that we can do to not provoke our children is to be happy, to be joyful, that our home is the centerpiece of fun. I would come home at 6 o'clock every night while we were raising our kids, and we would eat, we'd clear the table, I would lay on the floor, read the Bible to the kids, and then I'd take them and throw them up in the air. Or we had 5 levels of stairs, and the kids would get a leaping start and they would jump to their father. We had fun. Now, we all know that we as pastors are sometimes crabby. You know the story about the little girl who says, "Can we buy a house next door?" And the pastor dad says, "Well, what do you want to do that for?" "So Dad, when you're working on your sermons, you can live over there and not here." Wow. I think that's true of all different vocations and callings. We sometimes get too crabby. And if we provoke our children to anger, they miss the grace of God and they let a root of bitterness grow up in them. So the antidote to that is joy, says Steve Lawson. But really, the antidote comes deeply embedded into the fabric of the Jewish life that we inherit as Christians. That we have a rhyme and rhythm of our time, and 10%, according to Deuteronomy 14:26, we're to take 10% of our money to go to the place of our choosing. Some people love fishing, some people love hunting, some people love pools, some people love basketball, some people love baseball. Take 10% of your money of the place you desire, and it's before the Lord. So it's not just a hedonistic practice, it's a place where you're having fun and enjoying your family and looking up to things of the Lord. That's again why I think it's a strategic connection where Jesus is in Caesarea Philippi and he says, "But who do you say that I am?" I think if we follow the Bible, do God's will, God's way, we're going to have the best life. So anyway, that's why we teach at Grace Legacy Builders faith, family worship, finances, have some control over your money. It's God's designed the family to create wealth, to build wealth, to maintain wealth and distribute wealth, but also to have fun. And families that have fun together stay together. It's just a psychological truth. It's a biblically relatable reality. So, anyway, that's what we're going to talk about your family vacations and what you guys did, and we'll go from there. So, great. Tyler, you can turn the thing on.